Evening Tank family. Welcome back to episode 3 of Sports Tank. Thank you for tuning in. Please send us shout outs where you're tuning in from and where you're watching from on our Facebook platform and also on YouTube. Thanks again, once again, for your support. Today we have a special guest, Mr. Frederick Christians. Farid Christians. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Jerome.
Mr. Frederick, I'm just going to give like a short introduction. He's a personal trainer, a professional bodybuilder, slash rugby player, fitness guru, and the list continue. Mr. Frederick, can you please introduce yourself to the show, please?
Hey guys, so I'm Farid Christians. I was born here in Eisner about 30 years ago. Most of my life is about sport and being active, I would say. So naturally, I've developed a company around sport and fitness, which is called Functioning Fit, and I work here at Eisner Fitness, K-Fit gym, and I mostly do functional training. So I'm not really the guy that wants to make you lose weight in 3 months. What I do is I set you up for the rest of your life. I teach you how to do things better, how to think better. Not only do I work on the physical aspect of training, but also the mental. And by bringing the two together, it makes it a lot easier. You know, motivation is like when you have a crinkle in a house pipe, right? And you are forcing with the tap. You open it more. So now the water pressure gets harder. So now more water comes out. What I do instead of using that type of motivation to get through difficult things is I figure out why the knot's there, and then undo the knot, and now it flows freely, and there's no stress. And when you're not stressed, you can do things for a lifetime. So that's sustainability. And once you get there, it's easy.
Thank you, Mr. Christians. What a mouthful for introduction. Mr. Christians, can you please tell me the background? How did you fall in love with fitness and wellness?
Well, in school, I was the smallest guy. Um, my mother didn't want me to play rugby. You know, she literally banned me from it, and I really wanted to play. And after school, I started training to play rugby. And then one of the guys I was training with said to me, "You know what? You'll never play Springboks. You're too short. You know what I mean? For your position as a flank, you're too short." And back then, there was still this thing about size, you know. And he said, "Why don't you do bodybuilding? You know, you are building so quickly, and you obviously enjoy it. We can see you when you're training. You enjoy this." So I said, "Okay, cool. Let me give it a shot." And I think the first year I lost badly, you know, and I don't like losing, and that made me work really hard. And when I put my mind to something, you know, I break it into such small pieces and focus so hard on that tiny piece at a time that everything was flawless. The second year, I wiped all my competition. I got first place in every competition I entered, and I did that for 4 years. And after 4 years, it got a bit stale, and then I needed bigger challenges. So then I started training people, doing less bodybuilding, started swimming, started cycling, and then I started seeing the beauty of the whole picture. You know what I mean? It's not just about looking good. It's about also feeling good. It's about being able to do things. You know what I mean? Like I've always had bad knees, and that taught me how to train other people that have bad knees now. You see, it's simple things like that that I enjoy uh, doing my business. Okay.
Mr. Christians, I love the fact that you actually focus on quality beyond quantity. So you're actually going into detail. A lot of people are rushing to the bigger picture. It's more focusing on the smaller details. And I think that's a big milestone to build on what you want to. As bodybuilding is also starting from, that's when you're building a house. You need to make sure your foundation is solid. That you can build on that house. Mr. Christians, are you still active in the bodybuilding competition or just focus on business now?
So I actually haven't done a competition since 2016. I've been focusing on my business and building a brand, but I do feel that I want to do one this year. So I'm looking at doing one in July maybe. But at the same time, I'm doing rugby and I'm actually getting ready to start doing triathlon. So I'm putting a lot of time into my swimming. So I'm still deciding about it, but by the end of this month, I'll have a definite answer.
Sound like a very busy guy. So what does your day look like? Are you also waking up at 2 a.m.?
Um,
Please take us through your day.
so I used to wake up at 3 but because of rugby at nights, it doesn't work out because I'm burning the candle on both sides then. So now I wake up at 4, and then I have my first client at the gym at 5, and then I'm busy the whole morning, client after client. I normally book them back to back because otherwise I don't have enough hours in the day. So I normally leave the gym at about 2. Sometimes I get time to train, so I have an extra hour to do whatever I want to. And then I get home, I make a lunch. I normally have a big lunch because I've eaten in the morning the last time, maybe 5 a.m. when I leave, before I leave the house. And then I'll eat at 2 a big lunch. And then I would go on a Wednesday, I do gymnastics. On a Monday, I'll go and swim. And then on a Thursday, I might go cycling, and then that will be my 3 o'clock slot. And then at 4 o'clock, I will have another client at the gym. 5 o'clock, another client at the gym, and then 6 o'clock, I go home and have something to eat. And then 6:30, I'm at the rugby, and that normally goes until 9 or 8:30, and then I go home and then have something to eat again, and then sleep, and then start it all over again.
Wow, what an interesting lifestyle. It requires a lot of commitment and consistency.
But like I explained about the pressure and the hose, for me it's fun because it's what I want. It's what I enjoy doing. So what I physically do most of my days, I look for challenges, things that are difficult for me, and then try and do better in that. Because once I get better at something, it gives me that drive. It shows me like, look at you, you can do things that other people can't do, and then that gives me more motivation to take on bigger tasks.
That's good. That's good. And one thing that I can take out of your story, all of us have stories, but you take like you'll be one of the tiny guys, and some people have been bullied. That's how they ended up doing bodybuilding. But you found something beautiful in it. You turned the whole situation into a business, a lucrative business, and I applaud you for that. And I can see that you are what you actually say you are. It looks like you just swallowed the gym.
Thank you, Jerome.
Yeah, just for an icebreaker. Is it also random when you maybe just hanging out like just socially? Then people just ask you like all these weird questions. Where do you jump? What do you drink? How did you get this big? And you're trying to just switch off like and just have like a normal life like other
Yeah,
people.
it is very difficult for me actually. Like I used to say to people, I wish I could leave my muscles at home, but I can't. Some of my friends even say, I don't like walking around with you because it's like walking around with the show horse. And for my girlfriends also that I've had in the past years, where guys would come past them and they give them no attention, and they give me too much attention, and then me and the girl end up having a fight. So it's been difficult, but at first it used to upset me, and now I understand it's just how people are. People see something that interests them, then they're going to give it attention, and I can't get upset for that. I chose to look like this, so this is part of it.
And it became a lifetime or a lifestyle because it's a full time job. You can't just switch on and off. So it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, 100%. But with bodybuilding, it prepared me for that because when I was doing bodybuilding, like I said, I micromanaged everything. I had alarms for everything. Like when I wake up, when I eat, every meal. I used to eat about 12 meals back then. Drink my waters also. Like at 12, I would need to have about this much water in my system. So with that, it's easy for me to live the way I do because I've been doing it for so long. It's natural.
Um, let's say, for instance, to somebody who doesn't have a background or clue what bodybuilding is, can you please just explain in simple words? not too much into detail for somebody who doesn't have a background. What is bodybuilding? Because for them, it's like the muscular guy, that steroids. You see, everybody has that the stereotyping people. So can you please just explain?
So I believe bodybuilding is the mother of all sports. You know, it's when you're a rugby player, you go to the gym, you work out, you go play rugby. When you're a tennis player, you also go to the gym, you go and play tennis. Now, bodybuilding is basically go to the gym, and that is your sport. You know, um, more than just lifting weights, it's an art. You know, it's basically sculpting your own body. Like I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, okay, my calves are too small. So now instead of like taking putty, I have to go and put in the work at the gym. And just going to the gym firstly is difficult for most people. And then you have to now start thinking about the science behind it. You know, when you have to figure out how much water you're allowed to drink for the next 6 months, when you have to figure out how much protein, how much carbs you have to have, and then you still have to go into your macros and all of these things. So it's a big science, I would have to say. And then also, a lot of people misunderstand it. When you are going to the gym and you're building a body, doesn't mean that you are a competitive bodybuilder. Competitive bodybuilders physically go on stage. Like I was a competitive bodybuilder. Now I'm just a bodybuilder, not a competitive bodybuilder. And yes, you can say there's steroids in the sport, but almost all sports have steroids. It is just that it looks a lot more. You can see it easier in bodybuilding, but I promise you, there's many guys that are on steroids, and you wouldn't believe they are because that's not bodybuilding. You know what I mean? Anyone can take steroids. It's so easy to get nowadays, but not everyone that's walking around here looks like I do, because like I just explained my day to you, that it's a science of intensity. That makes any sense?
It does with any sport. You need to find out the science behind any sport, and then it simplify everything. Like in rugby, tennis, there's science behind everything. And soon as you get that science and you understand what to do, when to do, and what time to do it, then it makes it look so much easier. I can see a lot of people watching superstars on TV. Just go out to the street and try what they are doing. They don't understand the science behind it and the hours has been put down behind it. As I believe, can't believe who wrote that quote, but behind every genius, there's 1,000 hours of practicing the same skill and mastering that skill.
100%. I believe Bruce Lee said the same thing. He says he doesn't fear the guy who's practiced 1,000 punches. He fears the guy who has practiced one punch 1,000 times.
Exactly. And that's the art behind any sport. Mr. Producer, can you take us to a break? Sports Tank family. We're back with our guest, Mr. Christians. So now we're gonna challenge the myths and the facts because out there's a lot of myths and a lot of facts and a lot of stereotypes of people. But he's standing his ground. He believe what he believing, and I'm also believing what I'm believing because when you go out into the internet, not everything that you read and what you see is the truth. I think we as people, we need to find out what works for us. What's working for you also don't work for me. I mean, you can use the same program, same amount of nutrition, but we'll get different results. Is that true?
100%, 100%. And I drive my business on this specific aspect, like there's no cookie cutter. You can't do it like that. Even, especially with nutritionists, these people go and study for years and they still get it wrong sometimes. They spend hours with one client at a time and then they do a specific diet for that person. So to think that you can go on the internet and download something that 1,000 other people are downloading and it will work for you is very small. But it still sometimes does work because when you think that it will work and you believe it will work because the mind is that strong. I believe in that personally. But like you said now, there's a lot of lies out there, like the fact that you need meat to gain muscle, to keep muscle. I've been vegan for 2 years now. And I maybe have had a little bit of cheese or a little bit of milk here and there, but no meat. 2 years going on 3 years now. And I don't think I've lost much muscle, to be honest with you. I've probably gained, if anything. So you need to go out there and figure out, like, work at things bit by piece. Try having oats in the morning. If that doesn't work for you, then try having eggs. If eggs doesn't work for you, then try the next thing. I don't want to even lead people. I want to be a light. That just shows you like their different paths. And then you get to choose one. And even if you choose the wrong one, you walk down and you're like, no, this is not the right one. Now at least you know this is not the right path. But thinking that other people know everything, I think that's our biggest trap. Especially when it comes to these big companies. They're out there trying to make money. And the faster they can make the money, the better for them. And it's put us in a state of wanting things yesterday, even though we only know we wanted it today. And it doesn't work like that for the body, especially. Like I constantly tell my clients, in the first 3 months, we are just building tools. You're not going to lose much weight, but once we have secured those tools, you can do anything. Your life will get better, actually. And most people then don't want to leave me because they can see the value in what I do. I'm not working with the surface. I'm working with the whole thing. That makes sense.
I love your coaching philosophy. It's like you're not there guiding them what to do, like enforcing them what to do. Because normally what happens, as soon as you turn your back, I'm not going to do it.
Yes. It's that motivational thing
Yeah.
I spoke about earlier. Now I'm pushing you, and as soon as I stop pushing you, what are you gonna do? You're gonna do the worst. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you get home, you're just going to have the biggest bowl of ice cream because coach is not there. Then tomorrow I'm going to pretend again I'm just the most obedient client. I'm doing as what coach is saying. I love that, and I'm gonna learn from it. And I actually respect the fact more that you're actually vegan. Can you please tell me how did you decide to become a vegan?
Well, I have always had a bad stomach. I've always struggled, and I thought it was just because I'm a bodybuilder and I'm eating so much. You know. And then one day I was watching Netflix, weirdly enough, and I saw this program called Game Changer, and it just made sense. And that day, I still had chicken in the fridge. I remember it was cooked and everything. Just needed to warm it up, and I threw it away. I threw out all the meat I had in my house, and from there I've just been eating veggies. And in the first 2 months, I felt so great. I decided I'm never gonna eat meat again.
Wow, that's great. That's great.
But then again, I have to say, like, when I decide I'm gonna do something, it's very difficult for me to turn around. I don't like lying to myself.
I love the mindset. It actually starts with the mind, because a lot of people are actually in denial with themselves, trying to prove a point or to belong in a social acceptance group, but you're in denial with yourself. while you're telling other people maybe you're vegan, but when you're alone, you're eating meat. You understand? This is the society that we live in. You understand? You want to be socially accepted, but you're letting go of yourself, the true self, while you can be honest. Because I feel like a lot of people, when you talk about this health and fitness, they feel ashamed. Like if you love your body, it's your body. You need to own it. Doesn't matter what body type it is. You need to own it. Be proud of it.
100%. I agree with you there 100%. You know, some people are not skinny but still healthy. I'm a big believer that you should be healthy though. It doesn't mean you have to look like a model coming out of a magazine. No one does looks like that, you know. I tried very long and hard to look like I look on stage all the time, but you can't. You get sick. You know, we are not meant to look like that all the time. You need to live a comfortable life that makes you happy firstly. You know what I mean? Like I said, that's why I use this method of getting to know people and understanding how they tick and making them actually decide for themselves that they want this. I often don't chase clients because I feel that already is the problem at the beginning, because now I'm begging you to come and do this for yourself. You need to find the pride in looking after yourself, you know? That makes any sense. But like you said now, it is a personal thing. You know, you have to like being in this body. And if you like being in this body, it's going to make you do things. You are going to be a different person. And I've often seen people change like that in front of my eyes, you know. And even if it's just for a short while, that's also the other backside of the practice. You know, you can't stop doing it. I have to choose every morning. I'm gonna get up at 4. You know, it's not that I made the decision yesterday, so today I don't have to worry about it. Tomorrow morning, I still have to decide to get up at 4, and I have to continue being this person because I know this person makes me happy. And I know, like you said, a lot of people are upset with themselves. They when they in social groups, they smile and they lose themselves in the group, and they become a completely different person. But when they're alone, they're unhappy. And I think the only way to get out of that is just to be yourself and be alone. Be happy to be alone. And as soon as you're happy to be alone, you will see how you other people gravitate towards you, because once you don't need people, you know, then you start enjoying people.
True, I couldn't agree more with you. You need to accept yourself and also love yourself. It makes it easy for other people to accept you and to love you. Always start with you. Whatever you want to achieve starts with you. Makes it easier for another person. But other people have it the other way around, expecting that happiness, whatever they want, is out there. I, I even understand the quote that say charity starts at home, and that can also start with yourself. You want love? Love yourself. Make it much easier for the other person to love you. I think that's also important with our wellness. You know, some people don't look into wellness. I just lost a friend like a few weeks ago. He committed suicide. And when you see him, like he was the happiest person, didn't show signs. But I believe when you exercise or you have a hobby,
Yes, there's actually science behind it. When you run, your brain releases endorphins that makes you feel good. You know, often also serotonin, that is your feel good drug. You know, so there is a lot of science behind it. It even makes you smarter because it improves gray matter, which is your brain. And then also just the relief of energy. You know, we walk around with so much energy in our brains because way back we were both different, but we are still the same, although we don't function the same anymore. Now stress is sitting at a desk and worrying about how you're going to pay your rent, or it is about how you are going to get dressed tonight, you know, and your body goes into flight or fight mode, and now it's releasing all of this hormones, the adrenaline, and your body just does nothing with it. And that's the biggest problem here. We don't know how to deal with stress anymore, and it goes and sits in our body. The hormone called cortisone, it's a stress hormone that physically makes your body burn muscle for energy, and it stores fat for later because now your body's in survival mode because it thinks it needs to run fast, needs to use the energy right now, and then save some for later. You know, so it's, I think stress is one of our biggest problems, like you said now, and now guys especially don't have guys to talk to. You know, if I go to a guy and talk to him, then I am going to be worried that he's going to tell the other people, or he himself is going to make fun of me. And then meanwhile, he's sitting with the same problem, but he's too proud. You know, we have to we have to get real. To be honest with you, we need to step up and be authentic.
I believe in authenticity because I believe in the state of mind. If your wellness, if you're in a better place, if you can't look after your mind, which is one of the most important muscles, then you can try anything out there. But if you can conquer your mind and control your mind, then you have control whatever's happening around you. Then you can tolerate and say, okay, this is not my social group. I don't do this. This is not what I do. That's for you. Then you have the power to say no. That's why people don't have the power to say no, because they don't know who they are. First and foremost, you need to find yourself and say, I, Jerome, stand for this. This is what I believe in, not what everybody's telling me. Then as soon as you can conquer that, then it makes it so much easier to control the environment that you want to be in, the conversation that you allow yourself to be in, the friends that you want yourself to be in. And then you accept yourself, then it makes it easier for other people to accept you.
100%. You know, a lot of people think diet is just what they eat, but diet is what you feed yourself the whole day. You know, this one speaker I listen to sometimes says, if your worst enemy puts sugar in your mouth, in your coffee, you would be completely fine. But if your best friend puts strychnine in your coffee, even if with his best intention, you will still die. So you need to check who's around you. And a lot of people don't even mean to hurt you or pull you down, but they are programmed in such a way because they don't know any better, you know, and you can't even be upset with them. You just have to accept that that's where they are and that is their consciousness at that point. And at some point it can change because people can change and we have to allow people to change. But you need to first look after yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. So sometimes you need to take yourself out of situations. And even if it's just temporarily, you know, you can always go back. But sometimes, like you said, you need to find yourself outside of the group. And if you, like me especially, I absorb people. You know, when I'm around anyone, I take on their energy. I take on their manners. So when I feel like I'm changing, I have to physically go home and sit and be by myself. And I used to feel funny about doing it, and now I don't care anymore. You know, and I think people who care about it are not my friends. The friends understand, and they don't mind.
That's being authentic. Be true to yourself, and the right people accept you. And I think what wellness is most important that you have a support group. A lot of successful people have a solid basic support group behind you. You as an individual can only try so much, but that get going, that support group, that day when your body shut down, your mind, you don't even hear the alarm, and somebody just wake you up and say, buddy, one more. You see. So that's why I also believe with wellness, it's very important that you also have a support group behind you. Somebody can just call and say, this is how I feel. The person doesn't even have to respond to you or give you a comment what they think, but you let it off your heart. Then you don't carry it with you the whole day. Because as I've been doing research behind successful sports people, is maybe they just have a grandmother that supported them. Sia Koli said his grandmother that raised him, that believed in his dream. She didn't see the whole big picture. Just make sure that at least you have something to eat. So that cornerstone, he built from that cornerstone. So that I also believe like you need to have a support system.
Yes, I believe the support structure is very important. You need something to fall back on, 100%.
And especially it makes it so much easier for us as coaches to also understand. Maybe you can't understand the client or the person that you deal with. But one day when you meet the parent or the uncle, then everything makes sense to you. You see, now you can click on the dots. You can see, okay, this behavior is coming from there. You're lacking this. That's why I can see, that's why you behave in a certain manner.
Mm.
Because if you have that triangle, it's you, the client, or the kid, and then you have that support system,
Mm.
then you can know. It gives you a better direction in which angle to work to, which buttons you can push, where's the motivation coming from, when the motivation is leaving,
Mm.
where's the consistency coming from.
Yes, yes,
Makes a
yes.
lot of sense.
Yes.
Since you haven't been on your long journey, is there any funny story that you want to tell us?
Funny stories. Ah, yeah. I suppose there's many funny stories, but I would like to tell a different story. I would like to tell you probably of the worst injury I had,
Share with us,
but
please.
it was so humbling. I needed it, you know. It basically made me do a 180. I remember the day like it was yesterday. It was so painful. I was the week before I was doing 180 kgs deadlifts, easy, you know, doing it for sets. Then the next week I couldn't find the next weight up. I couldn't find tens to make it 200. So I was like, I don't care. I made it 225 or something. And then I did my set. And on the last rep, I tried to put the bar down. Next thing I know, the bar just fell. And I was like, okay, that's funny. And then I wanted to start unpacking it. And I try and take the first weight off, and it's heavy. I'm like, just see. I don't know, eh? This was a heavy set, but okay. As I try and take it off, I can't get it off. The next thing I know, I'm on the floor. And I try and get up, can't get up. So then I'm lying on the floor. So I realized I need help here. So I started shouting, and one of the guys that work at the gym eventually came, found me there, asked who can I call. They had to call my girlfriend, come and fetch me. She had to take me home. I ended up being in bed on the couch for a whole week. Couldn't walk. I was leopard crawling to the bathroom. You know, it was bad. It was bad, and in that time, you know, all I could think about was how arrogant I was. You know, I just thought, I don't care. Just do it. I can jump this weight. It's fine. No, nothing can break me, and that broke me right there and then. But like I said, it might have been the best thing that could have happened to me.
Now was the comeback. I believe every
Of course, there
setback
was a
and
big.
always they
Of
had a
course,
comeback.
of
Yeah.
course. As soon as I got out of bed, as soon as I was able to walk, that second I went and started doing deadlifts again. I was like, I'm not gonna let this get me down. But I'm glad it happened. This was the sign to me that I need to start looking after my body. And now I physically, that's all I basically do. I teach people how to not get hurt, you know, and then to help people that have been hurt. You know, like especially I do a lot of people with lower back injuries, knee injuries. I'm not a physiotherapist. I'm the guy that does the strengthening afterwards. So yeah.
I'm glad you clarified that. There's a great thing behind injuries. A lot of people also ask me how did my so-called professional rugby career end. I broke my femur.
True. That's hard.
So I was on crutches for 6 months, 2 operations. But I'm still active playing rugby now. But the lesson that I learned in that 6 months humbled me. If I knew back then what I knew now, believe me, I believe I would be in a national player. The lesson that you're learning from it is like a lot of people when they stumble, they don't get up. They stay there,
They
laying
stay
down, and getting excuses why not to get up.
Yes.
But you don't understand. If you get up, take one more step, you actually achieve more and far beyond than what you actually thought that is enough. Then you're just scratching the surface. There's so much to get. You understand?
100%.
So that's what I've learned from my injuries.
Yes.
That's actually not. It's just a basic hurdle.
Mm.
But from that setback, the comeback was stronger.
Do you know in the Chinese literature, the symbol for challenge has two meanings. It's challenge and opportunity, and a lot of speakers also speak about successful people have this one ability. All of them have that ability to see challenges as opportunities, and the time between seeing a challenge and becoming an opportunity depends how successful you are.
And also after injury, it's also the consistency with rehabilitation. Just for
Yes.
life now, I need to do rehabilitation because they cut through my muscles. So some of my muscles are shorter than the other ones. So my leg is not flexible than the other leg. So when I run at full speed, and you've noticed, especially when you're a guy that knows sports, you will notice I run funny.
Mm.
You see,
Yes.
so that comes with consistency.
Yeah, it is. It is. I know I've had many injuries, especially from rugby. Last year I had both shoulders and a knee, and I have to physically sometimes get someone to keep me accountable, and make sure that I do the rehabilitation training because it's not easy and it's not fun. It is difficult and tedious, but it's well worth it.
And I think one of the motives of started the show was to educate the kids. We share the part of nutrition. We also need to get into the condition part. Kids don't understand that element. They've seen the Brian Abanas, the Cheslin Kobe's. They don't see the behind the scene. So that's why I want to be so informative. So if somebody needs something, you can go and watch on the YouTube videos, pause and share, or maybe reach out to Mr. Questions, or have a question, ask a question. So it can also be informative because back then we didn't have this information.
100%, 100%. And now it's so easy to find an expert on anything on the internet. Like even myself, you can go on my Instagram. You will find me on there or on Facebook. If you can send me a message to ask questions, I'll be happy to help where I can. I'm a busy man, so I don't always get to all the messages. But yeah, it's easy now. There is structures out there. Um, I think we need a bit more time to reach more people, but we're getting there. Things like this, collaborations like this, is already a sign that we are moving in the right direction.
Speaking about collaboration, um, I've noticed you spoke earlier about science. Back then, me playing rugby back then, size and everything was a big issue. They've been selling that stigma to play in a certain position. You need to weigh a certain amount of weight, a certain length. But science came in. People that were twice smaller than that size became stronger, faster. They challenged that narrative. In the future, are you looking forward to write books? Maybe share your contact, be create your own platform like where people can reach out to your resources.
Yes, I actually already have a website where I have a few blogs on, but I'm busy writing a bigger thesis. It is gonna take me a good few years. There's a lot of myths out there that I'm busy working through, especially when it comes to training and overtraining, and also just the whole idea of wellness, and then also how medicine has actually been counterproductive to us. But this will probably be published in the next 2 to 3 years.
We're looking forward to get that. But challenging all these myths, actually also being so informative to the youth, because you're telling them something, they've read something, one of the superstars told them this is the way to go. Since you're just okay, you are from a community, I'd rather believe the guy that I don't know, and also the people that will also go and support the guy that they're seeing on TV than the guy that you can have the personal relationship.
Unfortunately, we've been programmed like that we believe things on TV, even when it's far from the truth. So I believe that eventually we will all see the truth. And that's fine if you don't want to believe me. If you want to believe the guy on the internet, rather, it's fine. Like I said, eventually the truth will come out, and there's no denying the truth. So it's very difficult at the moment, but you kind of have to do your own due diligence and test things yourself. And that at the moment, I believe that's the best way to figure out what's real and what is not. And then, so when we go back to our first discussion at the beginning of this podcast, there's anyway no cookie cutter. So you're gonna anyway have to go and do the work. It does help when you have a professional eye to help you see what you're doing and what you're doing wrong, but you are still going to physically have to be able to do the work and try different things. Like even with me with training, I often let clients rather go and do something else because this is not for them. You need to find what works for you and your life.
Since we've covered the nutrition part, conditioning part, and I also believe we dealt with the wellness part, but the psychological preparation, which people don't also understand, which also plays a big role. I remember 2014, 2015, thing playing for Varsity Shield. Then they said, no, the sports psychologist is going to work in now. My mind was already fixed. I know everything. What can he tell me? Then the guy clarified everything like delete the stadium, delete the cameras, delete all the things that put pressure on you. Those things won't have an impact on how you play. You focus on you and what you can control. You can control how you're going to perform. Then it
Yes.
makes sense to me because you're so blocked when you're decluttered, when you're looking today what yesterday's memory, what yesterday's knowledge, then you can't see what everybody's trying to teach you at this moment and now because you're blocking everything with the knowledge that you know yesterday, which is not relevant today.
Today. Yes, yes, that's true. You can't put more tea in your cup if your cup is full. It is difficult. Psychology is a very difficult thing to even talk about. That's why psychologists get paid so much. But I believe there's simple ways about it. You have two main things I believe. Basically, it's your state and then your belief. And your state is your moment to moment, right? When you're going onto the rugby field, you have a lot of pressure on you. You have your adrenaline running. So now, what state are you in? Can you bring yourself into a calm state? Because that is gonna ultimately determine how you react. Like, imagine if you have kids, right? You have kids, obviously, and you come home from work, and you are tired and frustrated, and they come to your room, playing, making a noise, and you snap at them like, keep quiet. Now that is your state. You are in an aggravated state, so now you react like that. That makes sense. But if you were in a calm state, in a playful state, maybe you had a very good day. You played good rugby, and they come in there, and instead of biting them, you actually go towards them, pick them up, and play with them. So if you can control your state, you are already halfway there. But then state is only moment to moment. And then your belief, it is basically what you will consider even thinking about, and if you don't have this, if you don't understand what it is even, then you are basically, let's say, you're a truck, like a massive truck, and you know how much damage those things can do, how much power they have, but there's no one at the wheel and it's going at full speed. So your belief is that guy sitting there guiding that truck. So if you believe you can go and play this game and you're gonna win, you're halfway there already. Because then you're going to make decisions that back your belief. And then if you can calm your state, then you're all the way there. And that's your psychology. That's my psychology. That's how I understand the psychology about it.
Wow, you put it so in so simple words that everyone can understand it. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back now. Neisner community, Neisner United decided to bring the game home tomorrow, so they will be playing against Jaguars at Honley Sports Field. Adults will be paying 20 rand, kids 10 rand, cooler boxes will be 10 rand, and everybody knows where the Honley Sports Field is. Kickoff will be at 1 o'clock. Please come and support your team, get behind your team. I believe the team needs everyone in the community. Let's make Neisner great again. Let's unite and make Neisner great
Great
again.
again, yeah.
Mr. Farid, before we go, I'm just curious, how much do you bench?
If I had 1 rand for every time someone had to ask me that, but at the moment, it's quite low because of my shoulder injuries. I do about 140 at the moment. The most I've ever done was 180. Yeah.
And how much do you squat, sir?
So now I'm running at about 210. Better days 230. Yeah, but not too many.
And how many reps do you do?
About four, three
About
to
four.
four.
Only
Yeah,
four.
only four.
Yes, that's a lot, eh? Both of them are beyond my personal best. And how much do you leg press? A ton.
I actually don't like doing leg press. I do single leg press, and I single leg press about 210, 220. Because when I double leg press, it's just a waste of time. It takes so long for me to pack the weights on and take it off again. It takes the whole workout.
Somebody else would think that you're sounding arrogant.
I know. I know.
Do you
No,
understand? Yeah,
I
if,
know, I
if
hear
you're
you, I
small
hear
minded, you would think,
I hear
this
you,
guy's
but
arrogant, you see.
I'm not arrogant. I'm just
No.
telling you the truth. If you come to my gym, you will see that I leg press single.
No, it makes sense to me because it takes a lot of shit. How
It
many
takes
20s did you
time,
need to
man.
put up? Need to take
I
it
like to
off?
work efficiently. I don't have much time. If I'm lucky, I have an hour and a half. And when I have an hour and a half, I'm rather still gonna do 2 extra exercises instead of like backing that leg press, taking 30 minutes backing a leg press.
That makes sense. One last question. Do you have a favorite body part that you like to exercise?
Yeah, it's funny for me, because I like doing the difficult things. So it changes all the time. At the moment, it's my calves because my calves, I believe, is the most lacking part in my body at the moment. Last year, it was my back and my chest, and I feel like my back and my chest have caught up well now. And my whole life, it's been my arms as well, because my arms have never been big enough for my frame.
Okay, it makes sense. For motivation music, I said the last question, but this is basically going to be the last question. But you need to choose between Biggie Smalls and Tupac. Which one?
Tupac every
Tupac
day,
all the way,
every
all the
day,
way,
every
all the
day.
way. Listeners, thank you very much. Please tune in this coming Wednesday when we have Sound Tank, and we'll see you tomorrow at the game. I believe Sports Tank is also going to be there, black and white music, media. Have a lovely evening. Much love. Let there be love and light. See you soon. Keep well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.